What if I told you there's a global reason behind fuel subsidy removal and unstable power supply in Nigeria, and that it's not going to get better anytime soon? Stay with me. In 2015, Nigeria joined about 193 countries with the European Union, making a total of 195 parties in a major climate meeting in Paris. All of them agreed on one thing: to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. I have talked about greenhouse gases in one of my videos, but I will break it down again for the purpose of this information. Greenhouse gases are gases released mostly from human activities. When we burn firewood, charcoal, we burn fuels in cars, generators, factories, and other activities, we release gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, and other gases are released into the atmosphere. Normally, these gases are not bad. They help keep the earth warm so that it will not be too cold for us to live in. But the problem is that we are releasing these gases in excess, and now the earth is beginning to be too warm for humans, animals, plants, and every other living and non-living thing to thrive. The earth is overheating so bad that it is affecting rainfall pattern. It falls either too heavy, causing flood, or too little for crops to grow, reducing agricultural productivity globally and consequently increasing the prices of food. Need I remind you that no country owns the atmosphere? What happens in Ghana can affect China. What happens in the Europe can affect Nigeria. What happens in one country affects other countries. And that's why countries came together and agreed to, on their own, based on their capacity, reduce gas emissions. And in order to achieve this, every country was obligated to submit a nationally determined contribution. It's more like a promise that has a detailed plan on how each country is going to reduce their gas emission. In 2015 and 2021, at the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, Nigeria promised to reduce its gas emissions by 29% by 2030 and by 32% by 2035. Now note that Nigeria's gas emission in 2010 was 247 million tons. And in 2018, it rose to 347 million tons. 100 million tons increase. That increase shows development, but it also shows rising pollution. That is why the Nigerian government is targeting sources like the energy and the oil and gas. Now, this is where it touches your pocket. Globally, about 76% of greenhouse gas emissions stem from energy production and use. So one major strategy is to reduce fuel consumption by removing fuel subsidy. Because let's be honest, when fuel is cheap, it increases use and sometimes abuse or overuse. Let's look at our condition now in Nigeria. You hardly hear generators sound like before. High price, less emissions. Simple. Mind you, other countries are even going further. Norway and Netherlands announced a ban on cars that use fuel. And India is considering that in 2030. France is also planning to implement that by 2040. So this is not just a Nigerian problem. It is a global issue. But I have a concern with the implementation of this plan. And this is it. Based on the Paris Agreement, for every nationally determined contribution plan, there is supposed to be a corresponding plan or strategy that aims to reduce the burden or effect or impact of the plan on the citizens, especially the masses. Let's consider this fuel subsidy removal as an example. The government is supposed to put some structures in place that will make life easier for citizens, such as providing affordable public transportation. The government is also expected to provide support for solar energy by making it affordable and accessible, by giving out loans with considerate repayment plan, or even subsidizing the costs of solar panels. Because you cannot remove fuel comfort without providing another option. But you know our country. I no go talk past like this. I no get lawyer. So the next time fuel price goes up or light disappears, just know there's a global climate story behind it. So instead of shouting why, let's start asking the right questions. Where is our option? I remain Oguze Solomon, your environmental health and climate advocate, and most importantly, your moral cheerleader. Keep thriving with Oguze. Thank you.